Welcome to the Department Chair Leadership Podcast, where the goal is to improve organizations and serve students one leader at a time. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Jochum. If you're a department chair in higher education or any type of educational leader, and you want to improve yourself to better serve and influence those you lead, you've come to the right place. Because the best way to improve an organization is to improve its leader. Let's get started. Welcome back, friends, to the Department Chair Leadership Podcast. Hey, I hope everyone is doing well. So the title of today's show is Let 'Em Quit. Yeah, that's right. Let 'em quit. Now, I don't know if you've been a chair long enough to have people quit on you. You stay in the job long enough, it'll happen. And we're going to talk about some of the stats behind quitting. But this show will most likely drop during the semester break for most colleges and universities, at least in the U.S. And because of that, it might be a natural time. Maybe some people have come to you, said they're going to leave. They're going to quit their job for one reason or another, be it at before next semester. Maybe they're already planning on not returning the next academic year. And while I hope none of you are left in the lurch in that way, some of you may have had a rough semester as chair. Maybe you're thinking of leaving as well. Seriously, friends, if that's the case, shoot me an email. I'm serious. Go to cjleadership.com. You can see my email on there, or Google me. You can find a couple of my emails. I mean this sincerely. Shoot me an email. We'll talk. I hope that's not the case, but nonetheless, why do I want to talk to you about or give you advice as a leader? And this is relevant in any organization. Why would I just say, let them quit? Let them quit. I even have 3 benefits to letting people quit, and then some realities to support that. So if you're curious, what am I getting at? Well, let's go. 3 reasons that you really need to consider just letting your people quit. The first one, it's going to remove toxicity, resentment, and overall disengagement. That's right. I'm sure if you've been in a leadership role a while, one of the hardest things to address when it comes to people problems is just toxic behavior. That can lead to resentment. That can lead to disengagement. So, hey, reason number 1, you let people quit. Here's why I'm going to give you permission to do that. It's going to remove toxicity, resentment, and disengagement. Second reason to just let people quit. You are going to save money and resources. Now, what boss, board of directors, who would not love to know that as a leader, you are saving money and resources? And then the third reason to let them quit, you know what's going to make everyone feel better, especially yourself. I mean, you might even do the happy dance. You have somebody quit and you're going to do the happy dance. Are you a little bit confused right now? Because, if you've listened to me enough, we talk about doing the right things with courage, character, developing culture, relationships. Well, stick with me. To further support this, here are 4 realities of quitting realities that I think you just need to understand as a leader. First of all, quitting is inevitable. Yep. In life, we everything comes to an end, but certainly our jobs, quitting is inevitable. And do you know what else? Do you know that people quit people? As their leader, do you know that you're one of the biggest deciding factors? Gallup has done this poll worldwide for years, and the data is pretty consistent. And what they have found is that, first of all, when it comes to overall engagement of any organization, that the leader, that's you, is responsible for and can affect up to 70% of somebody's engagement. That means the extent to which somebody comes to work, whatever that looks like in this day and age, but they engage in work with the organization that you lead, the extent to which they feel valued, seen, and heard, the extent to which they feel as though they have a healthy balance of mastery, purpose, and autonomy. Hey, that's you. You affect that. Leadership's the one thing that can change everything. Second thing about quitting is inevitable because people quit people is Gallup has also found this. Do you know that 75% of people who voluntarily leave a job, last time I checked, that was 3 out of 4, they do so because of the leader. Now, people are going to leave for other reasons. Don't get me wrong. And sometimes you will have somebody leave that needs to. But of those that voluntarily leave a job, 3 out of 4 do so because of the leader. So people are going to quit you anyway. And there's a statistical probability that you might have had a hand in that. Maybe a big one. Quitting is expensive. Do you know that? Listen, people leaving organizations, just the United States alone, it's estimated then, this is from the same Gallup surveys, $1 trillion. That's with a T, y'all. $1 trillion. It can cost anywhere from 1/2 to 2 times a person's salary to replace them. And not only does it cost money to replace them, but we also lose that personal equity. We lose that institutional history, knowledge, etc. So the first 2 realities about quitting is it's inevitable, it's expensive. Do you know that quitting is also predictable and preventable? Of the people who voluntarily left a job, that's 3 out of 4, over half of them who voluntarily left said their leader or organization could have done something to prevent it. It's not just about going to a job that pays better. Culture matters. Leadership matters. The other thing about that is half of these people who voluntarily left said no one spoke to them about their job satisfaction in the 3 months leading up to their departure. Can you think about that? And it doesn't have to be a formal sit down. Stay interviews are great. Do the research on those. But just popping in, how you doing? How are things going? Do you have everything you need? No one talked to them. You know, we've known for a long time now that in any organization, and if you don't know this, take note, this is a little warning. This is kind of a rule of thumb too, but we've known for a long time that when people just do their job, they've already quit. You've been there, haven't you? I don't care what job it was. Maybe it was the first job you ever had in high school. But something doesn't go well, and day after day, and it just gets to the point that when you come home, whoever you talk to, you say, I've had it. I'm just going to, just going to do my job, and that's it. You're not going to work in the margins. So quitting is predictable and preventable. Falls on leadership. But then the fourth reality, quitting can be healthy. So now I probably have you confused, right? I told you to let people quit. It's going to remove toxicity, improve your culture. It's going to save money and resources. Everyone's going to feel better. But then I told you that my 4 realities, quitting is inevitable, and by and large, people quit people, certainly those that voluntarily leave a job. Quitting is expensive. It costs a lot when somebody leaves, to rehire them, to onboard them, all of those things. So it's expensive. Quitting is predictable and preventable, but yet I just told you to let people do it. And then I end up with number 4. My fourth quitting reality is that it can be healthy. So you see, of all the things that your people can quit, their actual job, terminating employment, is just one option. So we tend to focus so much on the big quitting, the unhealthy quitting. Last few years we've called it quiet quitting, but we think, they're going to quit. Let's let them quit. Let's let them leave the organization. But you know what? That's just one thing that they can quit. The other things that they can quit are what I want to focus on and talk to you about today. There are other things your people can quit that will actually make them feel better, make them more productive, improve the organization, improve your relationships with those in the organization. And of course, if you've been listening to me long enough, it's going to help the culture. And yes, at the end of the day, it'll move the needle on the metrics. I always say we got to put morale over metrics, but they are still important. And you know what? like a lot of things in leadership, when you give up some control and let certain things happen, it's going to make you look like a great leader because, hey, you are. So here's the deal, friends. This is why I'm going to talk about just letting them quit. Quitting is inevitable in life, certainly in your organization. Nobody stays there forever. But leaving, in many ways, is optional. It's predictable. It's preventable. So if we're of the mindset that maybe it's somewhat of human nature to only be able to handle so many things on our plate, and I think more and more that's a sign of healthy boundaries, we are all the same way. And sometimes when our plate between personal and professional life just overflows, a lot of times the first thing that we think about, if we can, either shortcutting or giving up on, it's a professional one. But listen, if you want to get to the root of problems in most organizations, or the root of what makes them successful, you know this. You can account for it by looking at either the culture and the relationships. And you know that the culture you create and the relationships you build will, for the most part, dictate how your people quit. And so what if we created an environment for those we serve in which they had permission to quit things? In other words, give them permission to say no longer or no more, not out of anger or negativity or while they're on their way out the door, but rather while they're happily on their way to pursue something within their job, within their organization that they are passionate about. Why not be intentional? If people are going to quit something anyway, why not we embrace it and let them quit something that is healthy and acceptable so they can pursue their passion and understand that they are a valuable part of the organization. As I said before, there's two types of employees. There are those that quit on the job and those who just quit from the job. So let's turn quitting on the job into something healthy. As a leader, give them permission to quit the things that don't really fill their bucket in order to pursue the things that do, so they will be more passionate, fulfilled, and have that sense of purpose, which will. The three reasons I told you to let employees quit. When people know that they are supported and can do things that they want to do, they're going to be more engaged. They're not going to be resentful, and it's going to lower toxicity. It's going to actually save money and resources because they will be more productive. And yeah, everyone, including you, is going to feel better. You know, we could also say, a lot of us, we know during the pandemic, it gave, the phrase quiet quitting came about. And so we could call that bad quitting, quiet quitting. But what I would like to encourage you to think about is, let's turn that traditional quiet quitting, bad quitting, into what I like to call loud, intentional, healthy quitting. And don't get me wrong, they're not leaving the organization. You are giving them permission to turn, within reason. It's still work and there are things we all have to do, but within reason, giving people permission to set their own boundaries and say, I'm going to put 100% into this direction, as opposed to going the opposite direction and not really being all that engaged, which at the end of the day is gonna affect my overall professional health. So again, I told you 3 reasons to let people quit, and what I really mean is let them set boundaries. Make it okay to say no. Don't make people feel as though they have to say yes to everything. Because a little secret here that I can tell you firsthand, by enabling people to set boundaries and quit the things, which really just means say no or draw boundaries around things they don't want to do, at the end of the day, if you were to develop some type of productivity formula, I can all but promise you that the aggregate performance of your organization is going to be greater, because people are just engaged. They just light up to do the things that they really want to do. So if we look at these aspects of quitting, just to kind of bound to contrast them. We all know what bad quitting is. And what I mean by that is I'm quitting, not doing anything, going to have a bad attitude, might even leave the job. Why do people bad quit? Well, it is true, friends. Stats don't lie. Among those who voluntarily leave, they quit in large part because of the culture, and as the leader, you're in charge of that culture. This can lead to people being burnt out, not fulfilled. But when they quit for good reasons, meaning they pursue their passion, they do so to be fulfilled, to do what Stephen Covey calls sharpen that saw, pursue the things that you want to do. What motivates people to quit? Well, bad quitting. In many ways, they're quitting on themselves, they're quitting on others, and the organization is never the same. Yes, we can replace positions, but humans are unique. There's never going to be another person like the one that left, and they are going to add things, valuable things to the organization that you'll never get back. Good quitting, motivation, is it enables people to better serve themselves and others. So what does that mean about communication? Well, when people bad quit, they're saying yes a lot of times when they really want to say no, and over time that compounds, and I think that causes resentment. The opposite, though, enabling people to have some choice, good quitting. Say no so you can say yes. That's called setting a boundary. That is healthy. I would encourage all of you as leaders to do that as well. Another aspect that I've identified here between bad and good quitting is visibility. Listen, we've all been there, and maybe we're human, we make mistakes. Maybe you've been there as well. When somebody bad quits, everyone knows just how miserable they are. Whether they say it or don't say anything, we know, right? Good quitting, it's pretty easy to see how passionate people are about things. And then finally, in addition to, just to recap here on what I outlined for bad and good quitting, there's reasons for it, there's motivation, there's a communication style that reflects you as a leader. What does it look like among those that do it? And then the last one is leadership position. Bad quitting, by and large, we know statistically that they're quitting the boss. In many ways, that is you. I know that's very direct, but it's true. Good quitting, they're not quitting you. They're actually pursuing things that they enjoy because you have enabled them to do so. So it really, when I say let them quit, I think you understand now. If you're still listening, now maybe some people started this and maybe depending upon the day they thought, oh, good, I was looking for a reason to just let somebody walk out the door. And no, there's bad reasons that you don't. We should try to keep everyone in the organization. Now, we can talk more, and I can do other podcasts on when it really does come down to not being a good fit. But what this comes down to is letting people quit, including yourself. It means setting boundaries. So your people can either get bitter and bail, or they can set boundaries and bloom. You set that tone, you set that culture, you enable that to happen. And how do you do this? Well, as I've said, it comes down to culture and relationships. It comes down to understanding what people are interested in. So how do you enable a culture for your people to set healthy boundaries and quit the things they don't want to do within reason and pursue the things they do? Is day by day, you've got to develop relationships. Get to know them. What are you passionate about? What would you like to do? If I gave you permission to say you don't want to finish your career in this position, what would you do? Let's dream big. And then how can I fill in the gaps to help you get there? Even if you never physically get there, I want to position you to reach your potential. So, in closing, I want you to think about maybe in your own career, maybe in your current position. I'm sure there have been things that if you could have selected option A over option B, that maybe you would have felt a little more empowered. You would have been more engaged. Yes, I always say it's called work for a reason, okay, and it's called retirement for a reason. So yes, it is still work. You get paid because it's not always 100% what we want to do when we want to do it. But if you think about even just committee assignments in your department, there are many opportunities every day in every organization, certainly higher education, to redirect people's energies into things they want to do. Not to pile on yet another thing, but to take something off. Because why would you want them to spend all of their time giving 40% to an effort when they could give 100%? So friends, that was just something that I wanted to today and let you think about. So let them quit. Let them quit. It's healthy. They're going to quit. People, they could quit you on purpose, or they could quit the things they don't want to do so they can do other things that'll make them more fulfilled and improve your organization. So as always, hey, thank you for joining me today on the Department Chair Leadership Podcast. I wish you well. I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Department Chair Leadership Podcast. If you want to learn more about my leadership philosophy and how to be an effective chair, please consider my book, The Department Chair, A Practical Guide to Effective Leadership. You can find this and learn more about me by going to cjleadership.com. Also, please be sure to like this podcast, leave a review, and share with your colleagues. Thanks again for improving your organization and those you serve by improving yourself. Take care.